you for coming out this evening. I understand there's a lot more things going on, but I'm glad to have you here. Well, as you know, Robert, we have conducted our investigation. What I'm about to show you is our evidence. But before I show you, I just want to prepare you for what you're about to see. It could upset you, could be disturbing, but it's just to get you the truth, per your request.
Okay.
All right? Robert, on this day of our investigation, we are outside of your residence. A few moments later, we see Gemma. She walks outside, she goes over to her vehicle, she gets in. As our detectives follow Gemma, she arrives at this photography studio. You recognize this place? Have you ever been here?
Yes.
Okay. Continuing on, pulls her vehicle up, gets out, then she goes to the trunk to retrieve something. She gets her bag, pulls up the handle, and rolls it inside. Now, Robert, you recall those surveillance cameras I gave you? Told you to put them in your studio?
Yeah.
The next shot you're about to see is from those internal surveillance cameras I gave you. She walks up to the studio, opens the door, and she goes inside. A short time later, we see this gentleman. Do you recognize him?
Yeah, that's Spencer, all right.
So this is your friend?
Yes.
Okay. He then points her over into the direction of the studio, and she begins to pose on a wall. She then takes her top off, and he begins shooting photos of her breasts. She comes over to look at the viewfinder on Spencer's camera and approves. She seems very pleased. At this point in time, how do you feel about him taking those pictures?
Not very happy about it at all.
They exchange a hug and a very short kiss. He then slaps her on her lower posterior. After finishing up their photography lesson, she gets into her vehicle and leaves the photography studio. On this day of our investigation, Robert, we are outside of your residence. We see Gemma walking with her keys in her hand. She goes over to her vehicle, and she gets in. As she backs out, our detectives follow her, and she arrives at the photography studio. That's when we see her go to the back of her vehicle once again, pull out that suitcase, and she walks inside with it. And that's when we get that second internal shot. She walks in with a robe on. We see he's got a bed set up with some fur. She takes off the robe and reveals a lot more than just skin.
Yeah.
How do you feel about seeing this right now?
Already pissed off about it, and that's...
He's standing on a ladder. She's laying flat down on a bed with her breasts completely exposed